Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wisconsin Sports Lounge. I am your host, Scott, and this is my co-host, Ryan. If you didn't see our last two episodes, obviously we talk about Wisconsin sports, specifically the Packers, the Brewers, the Badgers, and Bucks. You know, we talk about game recaps, roster updates. You get the gist. I don't think I need to explain it that much farther. We'll talk about trades and stuff like that. Whatever. We just want to get straight into it. So let's talk about the Brewers.
The Brewers. Still leading the division. Still leading the division.
Half game up on the Cardinals.
Yeah, not as good as they were doing a week ago.
It was a slower week. They had 2 days off. Got one against Toronto Blue Jays, but lost the first two at home to Pittsburgh Pirates, which we have been pretty good against. As of late.
Yeah, and that's kind of the worry. It's a shorter week and not capitalizing on the few games that they did have. I mean, really, for baseball, it was a weird week not having pretty much a Brewer game almost every day. It was odd that they get 2
days off.
Two traveling
in a week.
Traveling days.
Pretty crazy for baseball.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get 1 day off in 15 games.
Usually, yeah. Sometimes you keep playing, yeah. So, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about, the issue of for the Brewers right now. Obviously, they're still up there, but, you know, and I was a little more optimistic last week, and you were a little bit more. You keep saying just at least get that wild card, and I mean,
you want the importance of the division is obviously you're secured in the playoffs. You got the home field advantage then, but if you get the wild card, you still at least get that chance to be in the playoffs, and all you have to do, I mean, is just get there, and you could rattle off a few wins and win a World Series. That's all you have to do. And it's tough in baseball because not many teams do get to the playoffs.
No.
So that's
just getting to the playoffs.
It was nice adding that extra wild card. So
yeah.
It definitely makes it more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one good thing about baseball's playoffs is if you get there, you have a much better percentage than say basketball, which half the league makes it.
Yeah,
and
I mean, in basketball, let's be honest. If you're not in the top 4 teams, you're probably not going to have a chance at the Eastern or Western Conference Finals. But the Western Conference, obviously, in basketball is better than the Eastern Conference. But that's a whole nother story.
You heard Scott say it here.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. And we're Eastern Conference guys.
To stick with the Brewers, obviously.
Yeah, sorry that we talked about Bucks. I apologize.
Stick with the Brewers.
Yeah, well, that's like we touched on it right at the start, like you touched on. The issue they're having right now is their home record, which, you know, usually most teams, good teams especially, your home record is the one where it's better, and people give you a little bit of a pass if you're away because when you go to somebody else's home, it's difficult. The crowd's against you. It's not the field you practice on, you're used to. So, I mean...
but at 71 and 58, you would expect the Brewers to probably be like 10, 12 games over 500 at home. Because that's where most teams make all their make up all their games.
Yeah, and so
struggle. And usually it's just get 10 to 15 games up at home, and if you play 500 on the road, most likely you'll be pretty good. And it's kind of been the opposite this way for the Brewers. I mean, they're 35 and 31 at home, not that good.
No.
I mean,
not compared to when you look at 36 and 27 away.
Over the past years, home is where we've really had all our success.
Yeah.
And the roads where we struggled, where we beat 8 to 9 games under 500.
And that's why I said, and that's pretty typical. So they're our Brewers team, like we talked about last week and the week before. I've continued to keep that as my motto about the Brewers. They're not the typical team. They're not the expected team we expected them to be. We did not expect them to be 71 and 58 right now. We did not expect them to be leading the division at all this season, much less for how long,
4 months, whatever.
Pretty much majority of the season they have. But you know, this is now.
They're not getting. I mean, they do have a pretty decent lineup, but they're not getting the hitting from Segura they did last year. He's batting .219,
and that's why
I think you know you do have to give him a little bit of pass. He had a real tragic moment earlier this year,
and came back.
He didn't hear his son died in the Dominican Republic. That's how I couldn't imagine being over.
Yeah, and coming back pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
I mean,
I remember they asked Carlos Gomez saying, "Yeah, he might be down the rest of the year. Who knows? I mean, you don't know how that's going to affect someone, but losing, your son that young It had to be really rough on him.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him a little bit of pass on the hitting. His defense has been pretty solid this year, so I think he'll have a better year next year. Gomez is playing well again. Braun's 275. Power numbers obviously down, like we've said. But the pitching, the pitching with Kyle Loesch and Matt Garza being injured, I think that might hurt us if they don't come back sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Which I believe, and now we didn't talk about this before, but now it's just, of course, many times when we do this, we talk about some of the stuff, just the idea, but I believe Loesch already has his game back scheduled.
Yeah, he did skip the start with an ankle injury, but I think he's the most crucial pitcher on the Brewers staff. Yeah, more than anyone.
And Garza's injury was more severe, and they knew already his was going to be.
Yeah. I mean,
a bunch of starts that he was.
He had the oblique injury. And that's always. I mean, they wanted to make sure he had no pain before he threw, and that's it was like 2-3 weeks before he.
Even could do it. Yeah.
That's
what I mean. That's the luxury that the Brewers do have. Luckily, they've kind of stayed afloat with they're 3 and 4, they're 2 and 3, whatever. Now it's all Peralta has risen so high that I don't know.
He struggled the other night. But for the most part, he's 15 and 8.
Yeah,
he's had a really good year.
You're gonna
struggle
take
every once in a while.
Yeah, but I mean, so they've been fortunate, but I think that those guys, they got to get healthy and they got to come back just as strong as before their injuries, and
Kyle Loesch he's always going to give you 6-7 innings, and you were shocked when he lets up more than 3 or 4 runs. Yeah. He's going to give you 7 innings, probably 2 earned runs almost every time out. He's consistent. He's going to give you a good start when you need it, so it helps you stay away from the losing streaks. At this point in the season, the Brewers can't have. I mean, the Cardinals are charging. The Cardinals aren't going to go anywhere. The Cardinals are just every year consistently good. Yeah. So, and the Pirates, I was worried before we came into the series, the 3-game series with them. They lost 7 in a row, and they had a walk-off before they played the first game of the series. They're not that bad of a team. They're a good young team. You don't want to hit them at a time where they lost 7 in a row, and then they could win 7 in a row because they're very capable of that. So we kind of they might have got hot for a few games. Right now, as of the 7th inning, the Brewers are up 4-2. Hopefully they can finish that one out and get 1 game out of the series.
Come on, say it. Who's pitching for him in their head? Who's been?
Yeah, Mike Fiers.
Yeah,
I said last week Mike Fiers should probably start because he's.
I mean, I was going to say the one thing about the importance of Garza and Loesch coming back sooner now. Part of it is that stability if they make the playoffs, because nothing's a guarantee. There's no absolutes. We've seen teams come out of nowhere. Cardinals did it to us a couple years back, where they were so far behind, and then
10 games out with like a month and a half to play.
Yeah, come back, make it, and win the whole stupid thing. So,
well, I mean, the Brewers. I mean, in 2008 they did it too. I mean, they were
sure. It happened.
They went 7-1 down the stretch at the last 8 games, and made it into a playoff with not made it to a playoff. They actually won because the Braves lost their last game. But CC Sabathia that year, still crazy to this day. I can't believe he pitched every 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the stability they kind of need to get that settled now on, because when you get to the playoffs, you got to know
rotation for sure.
It's not it's not like this where you got 5, so you got to figure out who your 3 are. Peralta's been pitching great, but
I don't know. Peralta would be that guy you might throw in there, but I mean, are you gonna
take out Garza? Who are you going to take out?
Loesch is going to be your number 1.
Yeah.
I think he has to be your number 1. He's done it before. He's done it with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Gallardo, every time he's been in the playoffs, he's pitched very well.
Yes.
Garza with Tampa Bay, he pitched really well in the playoffs too. So you might want to go with experience, but you also have that 4th starter in Peralta if need be.
Yeah, and that's why I say, being that quite possibly those 2 are 2 of your 3. They got to get back. They got to get into shape. They got to get prepared. I mean, we don't want to talk too far ahead. They got to get there first. But that's why it is very important that they come back. They get the rotation kind of more settled, and and hopefully they can hopefully today they can win, so at least they salvage not getting swept and
getting swept at home. But
yeah,
against a team that you could have put distance from.
Yep.
That hurts a little bit.
So that's I mean, I think that Brewers, like I said, it was a shorter week than normal and not as impressive. So that's about all we can talk about it, because I mean, the 2 games against the Pirates are games no one should even want to watch.
It's gonna be a week-to-week thing. Basically, they have to, if they can maintain 500 or maybe a couple games above it each week, maybe go 3-3, 4-3, whatever. I think they'll be fine. It's not going, 2-4 or whatever. Losing
this
series.
week,
if you can just split series, maybe get 2 out of 3 here and there.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
But not 2 and 5 weeks like this week. If they win today, that's not good enough. That's gonna hurt you going that way. So, that's our Brewer talk. Like we said, shorter week, and obviously our show is heavily Brewers. As you saw last week, we talked a lot about it, and that'll continue. And so, not Brewers, Packers. Sorry. And so. Packers again. The biggest preseason game happened on Friday against the Raiders, and they were definitely. I mean, they won in the end, 31-21. It was a good game. It was but there were some ups and downs. There was some sputtering. There was some areas that definitely need to.
The timing issues were big with Aaron Rodgers and the receivers. They obviously weren't as crisp as they were week 2 of the preseason. Yeah. Which I was very surprised of how well they clicked. I mean, that shouldn't really happen in week 2 with Aaron Rodgers' first really game of the preseason. You're not going to have that timing down.
No,
it's going to be right now. This is the feel it out area, and you work that stuff out in practice. I think by week 1 with Seattle, it's going to be tough because they have such a good defense. They have such big cornerbacks. I mean, their cornerbacks are 6'2", 230 pounds. It's going to be tough to get open. They play physical. Protecting Aaron Rodgers is going to be big in that game, and using Eddie Lacy is going to be big in that game too. But that's a little jumping a little farther ahead there. But staying with the preseason game, 9-20 for Aaron Rodgers, 2 touchdowns. We still scored points, and that's big. I mean, even if you're if you're not that consistent, I mean, as long as you're putting points on the board, you're still going to be okay. Yeah,
and like we talked about last week in our discussion of who you take in their prime. Rodgers kind of started, like we said, no offense to the gunslinger, but Rodgers showed again, even in preseason, first drive, beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch, how he spreads the ball around with Lacy, what they've created now, the 1-2 combo that the defenses don't know where.
It's really pick your poison. If you want to load the box up and let Aaron Rodgers go single coverage, be our guest. He'll pick you apart all day long. Now, if you want to go double coverage on the outside and not load up the box, let Eddie Lacy carry for 35 times. He's fine doing that, and then you can do James Starks too. Yeah.
And that's the thing. That first drive, wonderful, like I said, but then after that, sputtering happened. You're just like, and again, Lacy only played that first drive.
Yeah.
He only rushed 6 times, 36 yards and a touchdown.
Keep him healthy. You know what he's capable of. I think him in the passing game, if he can get the screen game down, he will be one hell of a running back.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, and we don't even have it. Again, another thing we didn't discuss, but I'd say the only complaint I had, and we'll keep talking about the game, but my only real complaint, and I believe Rodgers has complained about this. A lot of people are complaining about it, and his crew is known for it. But Triplett's crew, the referees in that game, they're just, and I know it's preseason, supposedly the announcers were talking about that they're told to do all that stuff, but it's just freaking annoying when there's so much for both teams. This isn't just the Packers sided. They're just such ticky-tacky things that they're calling in this preseason. If I'm going to complain about anything, it's if that's how the season's going to be, every game that crew...
if I'm going to play, I'm going to say, why is your phone on during our session? Really?
Really?
We're going to have our phones on? Come on. Do you want me to check my phone too?
Fans...
Hey, live right now. We're going to check it out.
Just so you know,
top of the 9th, the Brewers are up 4-2. All right, Frankie Rodriguez, let's go. Come on, baby.
Well, the reason
Let's do this.
The reason I have my phone on, and I forget, is so I get the alerts from the Brewers game. So I know what happened when I'm here doing a show. When I'm here doing a show, I still want to keep updated on what's going on with my teams. So I apologize to all the viewers who watch it, but it's just how it is. If someone gets a home run, and I'm not there at my TV at the moment, I want to know. So I apologize, but had to go back to Brewers. Had to happen.
The power of editing.
Yes. But it is.
Going back to the Packers before you rudely interrupted everyone.
I apologize.
No.
But yeah, like I said, just the referees, that's about the only, just a lot of, I've heard it since I started watching football, playing football. Holding happens every play.
Oh, it happens
referees,
every play.
Referees can call
how bad
it.
Do you hold? As long as you keep it inside the shoulder pad, it's most likely not going to call it. You're still holding. You're still grabbing the jersey.
Yeah,
if you go outside the shoulder pads, they're going to call it every time.
Sure.
But now, the preseason, the refs, they are told to call pretty much everything.
Yeah.
To make it seem like they're going to call it in the regular season, they're not.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
the game flow would be pathetic, and I almost think they should stop doing that because the preseason's almost is boring in itself already.
Right.
You don't need the flow of the game to be terrible.
Yeah. I know people who love the Packers. They don't even watch the preseason. Yeah. They'll hear about Rodgers did well. That's not to say they're any less of fans. It's just it's not worth anything. Now if Rodgers breaks his leg and they missed it, they'll be crying. They'll have to cry about it afterwards. But it's
I might cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, let's not talk about breaking. I apologize for even bringing up him breaking his leg. Yeah, there you go.
Good, fans. Don't worry about it. Knock down wood.
Scott knows how to work it. But yeah, so that's yep. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and speaking of fans, Forbes magazine is
yeah. That's a good move into that. Hey,
yeah, good move
how
into
does that work?
Yeah, preseason sucks, but we still sell it out. But some people don't watch it. But we are the number one fans. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
Green Bay, I thought they said only 17% live in Green Bay that are actually go to the games and stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much that have no interest in the team.
The entire state of Wisconsin, they bleed green and gold.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. You think of Wisconsin, you think of Packers and cheese.
Yeah, that's cheeseheads. Yep. But yeah, they showed. As I read the article, they showed what they looked at, and they did it in all. So it wasn't just Green Bay was the only one with 17%. That it wasn't just that calculated in. It was how much the ticket sales.
It doesn't surprise me though. But whatever stadium we go to, whether it's Dallas,
sure.
Whether it's Houston, whether it's Chicago, which that's close, Detroit, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever stadium we go to, St. Louis, you'll hear "Go Pack, Go" chants.
Yep.
Yeah,
no doubt.
On the TV, so that's saying a lot. You have to have a lot of fans there to be able to hear that through your TV screen, and you hear that almost everyone. With Coon, you'll hear the Coon chants everywhere.
It's awesome.
Even in Seattle, I bet that would happen.
With their
13th
man,
the
12th man.
You got the 12th jersey retired.
Yeah.
By the way, they came in number 9, so clearly you're not the best fan in Seattle.
Sorry, but yeah, it's just how it is. It is what it is. So that was. It was nice to see that. Not just being America's favorite team, but being that calculating all those calculating all those type of things together, the numbers even match it up. So with all the jersey sales and hats and everything that gets included in all that, so.
But that was just a little side note.
Yep.
We'll go back to preseason a little bit.
Yeah, just a couple more things that were
injuries. It seems that once again the injury bug has hit the Green Bay Packers. It's not so good news.
Both of them technically happening in that game.
Yeah. JC, center, he went down earlier in the game, but he played 49 snaps after that.
Yep.
But what I read, they say significant knee injury. Now, I don't know what that means. Could be a knee sprain, MCL sprain, ACL sprain. I don't know, but McCarthy said he'll be out multiple weeks.
Yeah. And I found out about it right when we got here to film this.
Yeah.
First thing he goes to me, he's like, "Did you hear?" I'm like,
Yeah, he literally just broke.
So I mean, in the game, you didn't even. I watched the game. You didn't even notice it. Maybe he went out for a moment, but it's preseason. You don't even.
That's what's scary about those knee injuries. You think it's fine, and then next day, it's only you're gonna have to have an MRI.
And what's terrible about it? He's been playing really well.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is saying he's got full trust in you,
and
that's the one thing Aaron Rodgers has said. If you're gonna be on the field with me, mental mistakes can happen. You can make physical mistakes; it's gonna happen. But mental mistakes, if you want to be on the field with him, you have to know everything about the playbook. You have to know what he's thinking and do things the way he does them.
Yeah, and be able to react to whatever situation. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like Scott Wells, when he was here a couple years ago, undersized center, but he did his job. Mentally, he was good, but the Packers, for whatever reason, wanted to let him go, so they signed Jeff Saturday, the old man, for a small contract.
You thought that was going to work out, but then he ended up being the backup.
It just
didn't work.
Age, he was done. I mean, he literally retired after that.
Yeah, he retired.
He literally he's an honorable guy.
And he was pretty gracious about.
He was okay. Bench. He understood why they put him second. Put someone else up.
Yeah.
But this is what's horrible at this situation is they go out. They find the guy kind of that they like. They got him, and he was doing really well. And now we don't even know how many weeks. It's just multiple weeks.
What is multiple? I mean, that could be 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. And BJ Raji.
Yep.
Tough for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's kicking his agent in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that big contract offer, turned it down, signed a 1-year, $4 million contract this year, which, sounds like a lot of money, but. Yeah, he got a way bigger contract that he turned down.
Yeah, but that's the name of the game. Sometimes you gotta know when to the whole hold them, fold them, and walk away type of thing. He held on too long, and then
take that money.
He had a terrible year last year where he literally, as I read the article, they said he was the worst nose tackle in the whole league. Like statistically, he was the last ranked. Yeah, completely different than a 6.5 sack.
But to his credit, Mike McCarthy did say he had the best training camp and offseason of his career, so it's tough for him right now. I mean, the bicep injury. I mean, Ray Lewis, he had tricep injury that year, but he was using like some deer antler oil or
as
whatever.
we found out later on.
Yeah, so I don't know what he was using to, excel that process of healing. I don't know. I don't think. It doesn't sound good.
No.
Since they're saying pretty much he's done for the season.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll see him back this year.
Adam Schefter of the named network we don't speak of said he's out. Another person I read on Twitter said it depends on the injury. If it's serious enough, it's pretty much, even though it's preseason, you're pretty much out what the whole season would require. Maybe playoffs, but the regular season for sure. The Packers can't.
I mean, he could probably stay in shape a little bit if it's just the bicep.
But he's not.
But upper body wise, that arm is going to lose a lot of strength. So.
And the Packers, that's the thing, and they can't wait for that. They're not going to say they need to focus on it right now.
So the question is, do you think they'll go out and get someone, or do you think they'll stay in house and do what they always done, the next man up?
Well, that's kind of the, I guess, debate. We can talk about that and then our opinions, I guess, the debate. We'll just give it to the viewers real plainly. There's two guys that the Packers had has played. One that played the position, Ryan Pickett, who they didn't sign him because they felt he was was not sufficient enough.
Well, his age. I mean,
the age,
out there.
But so he's one option that if they wanted to go out just to get a veteran that they knows their system. Johnny Jolly's the other option that they like the idea.
Johnny Jolly, I liked his when he played here.
Before all his problems.
Well, after his problems, he showed a lot of energy when he played. And then he had the neck injury that he had. He had to have that fusion
bulge disc.
He had the bulging disc, and so he had to have that fusion surgery that Peyton Manning had. So who knows how? I mean, everyone's different. You don't know how he's going to react to that.
Well, and they say that he probably could be ready for the first couple weeks of the season to be back. So obviously most of it's healed, but they don't know.
He may be something to consider. I don't know, but the Packers, their method is next man up.
It's
always been the next guy up. This is your opportunity. Take the most of it.
Yeah, and so if they go that. Oh, and obviously, like I said, those are the two guys they know if they can make a trade or something like that. That's out there. Obviously, always is, but you gotta have someone wanting to give something up. Plus, all the cuts may be happening now.
Ted Thompson isn't going to give up any draft picks. We know that.
Well, and there's before we even talk about the guys, and there's always the whole. Why am I blanking now? The extended teams, the guys that you have to your.
Oh yeah. The
practice squad. So and you can always take that from other people's. Well, maybe you find a guy that you like there.
Well, sure. Someone may not fit on another team, but didn't have a roster spot for him, and he comes in and plays really well here.
So there's always that possibility, definitely. But right now, with what they've got right now, the next guy up is Josh Boyd.
I think Josh Boyd is going to get the job. Their motto is next man up.
Yeah. And he played.
He's always done that. He's played.
And after Raji went out, he played and he did. I mean, he was.
And with the nose tackle, I think their main thing is you need to fill that spot. You got to close. Don't try to rush the passer. You don't have to. Your job is to stop the run.
Yep.
Maybe take double teams. Stop that inside run. And that's the job of the nose tackle.
Yep.
So if he can do that decently, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. So we got Josh Boyd is probably the guy who's going to start for now at least, and they got a rookie in Mike Pennell who supposedly he's looked good, but obviously he's completely green. They don't know what they're going to get. So maybe they don't want to even rush. Maybe he'll just give Boyd a breather when maybe if need and obviously they're going to switch forward. Maybe they'll switch their formations around.
I'm sure they'll give him. They might split every once in a while.
So those are the guys probably those two I think are probably going to get what Raji's giving up. I mean Boyd probably would have still gotten some because those big boys they don't last the whole game. They can't.
Well, I mean that's tough. It's a lot of snaps to take. I mean you're either getting double teams whatever, but you're going against linemen all the time.
It's
a physical spot to play.
Yeah, in high school I played both. Those were the two sides I played. I played center and guard on offense, and I played pretty much nose tackle. That was my job. Was on defense. Pretty much I knew what the other guy was thinking, having played on the offensive side that way. But on defense, my job was just to hold him up, and if the run was coming in that area, clog up that area. That was it. So. It is very exhausting, especially when the double teams come and you're just you're pretty much sacrificing.
I mean, and all the cut blocks they do. There's a lot of them.
Yep.
You're not supposed to do it, but
it happens. It happens. So I guess on that, like you asked at the start, that's how the Packers do it. It's always.
I think it's gonna be next man up. I don't see it any other way. Unless they have to, they're not gonna go out and get someone. Okay. Unless someone can't fill the spot.
And you're good with that.
I think they'll be fine. Unless and you can always go out and get someone. There's always someone out there. So you don't need to rush. You don't need to trade. You don't need to do any of that.
Don't get me wrong. I like the next man up thing. I got no problem with it, especially because Raji in the end, who was the starter, was only a 1-year contract guy. That they pretty much were giving him his last shot. They were trying to help him.
Going to that a little bit, I don't know. I think it'll be his last shot. I think.
Now actually,
you can get him on a cheap deal next year.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you could give him pretty much on a veteran's minimum deal.
Yep.
He'll probably get that guarantee, whatever, which is probably like $3 million or whatever it is now.
But now he's got that tag of injury.
So now he's gonna have to. He'll probably maybe you can get him 2 years signed. Maybe he'll think, well, I should get the money while I can.
Yeah.
Which didn't do the first.
So this was kind of one of the Packers kind of had a.
Maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise, which is terrible to say because you don't want to ever see someone go down in injury like that. But I mean, it might be a blessing for the contracts of the Packers.
Yeah. Because maybe and he's young still, so maybe he can get a contract with the Packers, show that over another length of a contract he's not injured prone.
I'm sure he'll be fine. This is a bias. It's not.
But it sucks for the
like
Packers because pretty much their starters on both sides of the same line just went down.
Yeah,
for a decent amount of time. So
enough with the bad news. With the injuries that seems to happen.
Good times. Good thing about preseason.
We'll go to the next man up type deal.
Yep.
Dwan Harris, good third stringer.
Yep.
You may be a third down back. I don't know how they're gonna play because I don't know. Do you feel more comfortable with James Starks as the third down guy, as maybe like the screen back, or do you feel more comfortable with Dwan Harris?
Obviously, if you're a Packer fan watching us and you watch the game, Harris looked great. I mean, like I said, Lacey only played really like a driving 2 drives, something like that, and then they're giving him they're very.
He's your guy. He's gonna get the bulk of the carries.
He's showing
when it comes down to his third down back.
Yeah,
he's gonna be Starks or Harris.
Personally, I guess it's a preference. I like more my third down back to be more like a Harris, a shifty guy that if say it's 3rd and long. You can put him out, spread him with the 5. I mean, what we saw on Friday, 56 rushing yards and 47, or one of the flip, 47 or 42 passing receptions. I mean, one of those screens he took, he did it all by himself. He took a 30-yard. He got the ball at the line and pretty much didn't let them tackle him to get to the third. I mean, it was such an effort.
And I would have to say I agree with that. I would say James Starks is better as a guy that's a backup. Is the backup.
Sure.
To Eddie Lacy, as in if Eddie Lacy needs a break.
Yes.
Because he gets a little more speed. He's strong, power back, but I don't think he's that good. If you put him in the shotgun and do a draw play or a screen pass. I think Dwan Harris is pretty good at the screen game, and I think that's what the Packers need right now.
And that's one.
They need more of that screen game that they've used in the past, and what's always been part of the West Coast offense.
Mon Green and
Dorsey Levens
back in the day. Yeah.
I mean that's always been part of the system of the West.
I think in the end that third down situation it's gonna be that, because I think still Stark is the better blocker. Yeah. If that's the situation they need.
And like you said, Harris he's more of the shifty guy, so if you do throw a screen to him, he can make that first guy miss. Where Starks is more of you let him run, get that rush, he could maybe pull someone over.
Sure.
And maybe change of pace with Lacey, because he does look a lot faster than Lacey's when he's in the game. It's actually quite impressive. But it's good to have 3 good backs in case one does go down.
Yeah. Well,
especially running backs. You do want to split the carries between them, because you can't just run Eddie Lacy 35 times every game. You're going to wear him out before the season.
I think they've got Harris is tapped to be at least the kick returner. Is it just kick, punt, both of them?
I think. I don't know if.
So they really don't. Randall Cobb doing it.
I don't know if he'll be the punt returner.
Kick returner for sure.
Kick returner probably.
So he's got. So I think in that way he's got a pretty good security on that.
He'll be a special teams guy for sure. He'll definitely make this team. He's a good part of this team, and like I said, if one of the running backs goes down, he's definitely a good backup.
Yeah.
But he may be most of the time third down back. I don't know.
Yeah. He fits, I think, what most people would have as their third. Starks.
But again, that goes with Lacey. They said he's improved a lot in the screen game, passing game too. So I expect him to get a lot more passes this year.
Well,
so
it
those
just
guys
gives
might not
another.
Get that much time. They might get their few carries here and there. But
yeah, it gives just another dimension to them. That's all it pretty much does. Which you need that. You need that as much as you can. So, last thing we got to talk about the Packers. Talked about it last week.
That's
again that whole
second string
quarterback. That's what preseason all about.
Exciting stuff, guys.
So, and it keeps on getting better because last week we talked about. I don't remember. I think you were really in love with Flynn last week.
Well, no,
I think you really were like, they should just cut Colzine.
I never said that. I never said that.
I think if the viewers watch, I think
if
that's
the
what
viewers
you said.
Watch,
I think
you said Scott Tolzien has had a better preseason. But I'd have more confidence in Matt Flynn in a game that's real.
Oh, that's okay.
And it's completely different. Yeah, preseason, it's all great and all, but when it comes to a real live game, it's about producing, and Matt Flynn's done that more times than Scott Tolzien does. That being said, Scott Tolzien has played incredibly in the preseason. Well, for a backup quarterback, let's not compare him to Aaron Rodgers or anything like that.
Wow.
But, for a second stringer, he's playing very well. So I think he may get that job. He may end up getting that job now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna come down that
they've done a really good job too.
Last preseason game.
I'm fair. Obviously, that first game was awful. Rodgers didn't play, but it was so wet. It was hard to even.
You can't really judge them on that.
But they've done a really good job giving them each a fair share. Like last week against the Rams, Tolzien was with the 2s, and then Flynn was with the 3s. This week they flipped it. Flynn was with the 2s, Tolzien was with the 3s. So they're giving each of them. It's not just like, well, Flynn, you were the more experienced guy. We're going to let you be with the 2s. But if Tolzien shows us more with the 3, So they're giving them each their shake. And that's where the problem is Tolzien has looked better with both 2s and 3s than Flynn has with any of them. I mean, not even... Flynn has had not one really good game. Out of all 3 of the games, he's not really looked good.
It's got to be just Groundhog Day for Matt Flynn, because when he left the Packers after he had that one great game, he was supposed to be the starter of the Seahawks. Nope, Russell Wilson gets there and dominates him in the preseason. All he had to do was play average, and he probably would have won that job out. That's all he had to do. And he played horribly.
And the Seahawks would have not won a Super Bowl.
Probably not. And then he went to the Raiders. All he had to do was not play horrible throughout the preseason. What does he do? Play horrible. Yeah. What is he doing this year?
Same thing.
Not doing well.
Yeah. And
all he has to do is play pretty decent, play average, and I think he'd probably have the job locked up.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, all these games, Tolzien's thrown like 70% completion.
Some of those passes, man, some of those slant patterns, I mean, he's throwing them right on the money.
They're perfect.
Darts.
Yeah. I mean, and he doesn't look like timid in the pocket.
No, he looks calm. He's not rushing the throws. He's waiting for his progressions. He's looking guys off, not just looking at one receiver and then you can get picked off that way. He's looking guys off. He's throwing crisp passes, accurate passes. He's played really well.
Yeah.
The job is, I think at this point, I think it's his job to lose.
Yeah.
I think he's earned that right at this point, because he's whatever you asked of him, he's matched it. He's done a really good job.
And that's last week. I was mostly messing with you, of course, but I was on that same path that I thought Flynn still was going to be the number 2 because of that, because I think Tolzien would. But now watching this third game, I honestly can't stick to that anymore. I mean, next week's game, we're gonna warn viewers now. Next week's game, the only important thing of this Packer preseason is that job. That will be concluded.
You know what the other important thing is? Making sure your starters don't play so they don't get hurt.
Yeah, well,
I want fresh starters for Thursday night against the Seahawks. You're gonna need them. The Seahawks look amazing. They absolutely destroyed the Chicago Bears the other night. They were up 31-0 in the first half. Yeah. Dominated the first team.
Which, the beauty of that is, the Bears still are sucking. That's not the season yet, but the Bears still suck.
I just think the Seahawks are just joking.
But yeah, it's more telling.
The Bears are a pretty decent offensive team. Their defense, which is weird, is kind of opposite what they've usually been.
Sure.
But
they've changed that up after the Urlacher retiring.
Their offense should be pretty decent, and they got absolutely shut down.
Yeah, well, that's Seattle. They're the favorites to get back there at least. I never like to say
they're as good a team as you can possibly have, and if Russell Wilson gets any better, I mean, you're talking an offensive juggernaut and a defensive juggernaut. So.
Gotta love those Wisconsin Badger former players. Just gotta love them. Gotta love them. So, which leads us right into our Badger preview. What do you think about this Badgers, this first game of the season? Just give us a small preview.
Well, it's definitely a big game, Big Ten SEC battle. It's gonna be tough. SEC's been strong conference for 8-9 years now. It does have title implications on the line, and I think if we stay within a touchdown, even if we lose the game, if we play them hard, we still have a chance at the national championship with the new rules that are put into place this year with the playoff. It's like the 4 teams get to go in, and then they get the chance to play for the national championship. But we'll still have a great chance to win the Big Ten title this year. I think they're going to be a very good team. They're only going to get better, and I'm looking forward to it. It's finally a game that matters.
Yeah, and I'll say for college, I have a tough time like a lot of people I know are just hyped for months and months and months.
Oh,
I
man,
have a tough
every
time.
Saturday,
Once
man.
it
College
starts,
game day in the morning. Woo,
yeah, once it
love
starts, I'm into it. But until the season actually starts, there's just so much with Packers preseason for me, Brewers going on. I have just so many other things that I'm focused on. So I'm excited for it to start so I can actually like start to see what this team looks like and
well, you know their ground game is going to be good every year. That's what they do. They got the big offensive line. I think the run game is going to be great. The passing game, we'll see. To be determined. I don't know how that's going to go. Yeah. But like I said, LSU, Wisconsin, first game of the year in Houston, big stage, national TV. A win would be huge for the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, well, that'd be awesome. It would send a statement to the Big Ten, pretty much.
It would send a statement to both conferences.
Yeah.
The Big Ten, that the Badgers are for real, and it would send a statement to the SEC that no, you're not the badasses of the league anymore. You may have some good teams, but the Big Ten are pretty good too. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Well, like I said, and we'll be excited next week to tell you all about how the game goes, and hopefully at least either way, win or lose, hopefully it's a close game. Those are always the most exciting games to watch. So start out the season, nail biter, right at the end of the game.
I mean, if we blow them out, that's cool too.
Well, yeah, of course. But then it's just like we can come in here and we're just gonna be like,
a Big Ten championship game against Nebraska, where we won like 70-30.
Yeah, and you were bored after the first quarter.
I'm cool with that.
Bored in the.
I'm fine with that as long as the Badgers win.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's good for that. I think we got everything for this week that we wanted to really talk about. I guess on that note, a couple things we just want to tell everybody before we do our little wrap up. We want to thank everybody for viewing last week, watching the video. We enjoyed it, and we obviously we want to do more of those type of things, more things that you will enjoy, and
hopefully keep it fun. We want to keep this fun. We don't want to be all just nonstop sports talk, and that's all we do. We want to have some fun with it.
We want to show Wisconsin boys we're here. We love our sports.
We're not just a serious sports show that we have to talk about this and all that, but we'll get all the good news out to you. But we want to make it fun too.
Yeah, and so on that, we just we just want to let you know that we have a plan of something for all our subscribers. That once we hit a point, we're gonna give a couple things away that are sports related. So the more you view, all these who viewed us last week, if you view us again, subscribing is. We're not in this for that. Truthfully, we're in this more for the fun. We're not in this like, we got to have all these numbers and.
Yeah, me and Ryan, we like to talk about sports.
Yep.
We hope some of the stuff is enjoyable to you guys. We appreciate, like he said, we appreciate all the views.
Yep.
Hopefully, keep them coming, keep watching. And we just appreciate it.
Yeah. So on that note, next week, like we've talked about, pretty much each of these. Packers will be in their final preseason, so we'll talk about obviously the battle of the two quarterbacks. But the rest of the game, hopefully we come out of there scot-free, no injuries, no nothing. Badgers will be literally talking about that game heavily because that'll be the most important thing with true importance on it. And Brewers, hopefully,
based on football, importance. The Brewers, yes, hopefully they can come through the week.
Yep.
Winning, that would be good.
Like you said, like Scott said earlier, hopefully they can.
We got a 10-game road trip coming up. 6 during the next week. Hopefully, I think if we go 3-3, just stay 500 on the road, I think we'll be okay. But we'll talk more about that. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully they can win. So hopefully you'll join us next week.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do now?
I'm gonna take a few swings, a few hacks, some cuts.
I'll grab the balls.
That's not weird.
Fruit Baseball with TWSL.
Yeah.
See you next week.